Guys are very, very confused. They don't know what matters for a girl. They don't know if it's looks, money, status, confidence, personality, what it is, what really matters, and they debate what matters and not. Well, here's the thing. All those things matter, but it oftentimes will depend on the girl, how old she is, what venue she's at, what values she has as a person, and a lot of other things. Generally speaking, though, genetically, we are hardwired to have all these things in as a factor because they're all valuable in creating the most healthy offspring for survival and reproduction. So let's break it down real quickly. Good looks, I'm not gonna lie, they matter to a certain extent. They mean for guy and girl, um, healthier offspring. If you're a better looking guy or a girl and more symmetrical, probably means you're more immune to disease, more healthy, and so forth. Same thing with body type and so forth. I do think, though, as a disclaimer, many people overemphasize these superficial things. They think it's all that matters. They throw their hands up. They use this as an excuse for why things aren't working. But you cannot overemphasize too much one specific thing. There are very handsome men who suck with women. There are very rich men who suck with women. There are really, homeless people who they also suck with women. And there are people who are obese or maybe not that good looking or don't have money and they do fairly well with women. So these are all examples and not ideal examples, but still examples of how you can circumnavigate this. Not ideal because they could be doing better because they are only emphasizing or only good at one particular factor. Whereas if they, got their money together, started working on some other stuff, they perhaps could do maybe even better. So let's start with the superficial stuff. Just real quickly, a real quick overview. Fashion style, again, could be a factor because of economic status, because it makes you look better. It can exemplify your body type if you fit your clothing properly. Scent is also potentially important. Again, oftentimes a lot of these things depends on the girl, where she is in life, what venue it's at, and what perspective she has in the world. There are certain places and times where perhaps based off the girl, she doesn't like a pretty boy, or she doesn't really care how much money you make, or whatever the situation is. These can occur based off if she's still in school, or based off what time and place she is in her life and how she is as a person. People differ. For instance, if this is a person at a bar or at a sorority, uh, it could be that you could be the richest guy in the world, and if you don't mention that, you can be shot off the bat if you're just dressed maybe even slightly above average and you look normal because they don't know that. You're not exemplifying it in any way, and people are stupid, or they just don't care about that stuff based off how they were raised or whatever, and they don't emphasize money that much. Again, the same thing could apply for a person who's a accomplished professional woman who makes her own money and is constantly being courted by guys who have tons of money but have like bad personality, very crass, rude, and show off their money, and it disgusts them because their whole life they've been emphasizing uh, other values such as sense of humor, personality, uh, actual achievement in life, and a bunch of stuff like connection and so forth. And money is plays second fiddle. So, uh, that's the general out view. And I did a whole video on all the superficial stuff that's from a evolutionary biology standpoint are important. So check that out on my channel. Just search it up, and I do think people over or underemphasize this. they either underemphasize it and then they just dress completely poorly. They don't work on their fashion, or they don't work on making more money, or status, or any of that. For me personally, I do think, status and money. Uh, I feel kind of grimy at all, even you know mentioning it. But they usually underemphasize this stuff and they don't work on it at all, or they overemphasize it and they use it as an excuse and they say this is all that matters, and it's over. So I did a video on the superficial stuff, so check that out. However, let's just very briefly, again, very, very briefly, because there's so many different things, cover the non-superficial stuff. So these are things like uh, biological subconscious cues, things that exemplify a great partner, a great potential mate, a great potential hunter-gatherer, and all these things that are uh, unconsciously wired. So, again, many subconscious cues go into the picture. Confidence, how you move, how you carry yourself. Are you someone who has emotional resiliency? Is this someone who is who can take control of a situation, remain calm? All these things are subconscious cues that exemplify a attractive potential mate for women. The reason being, all these things have value, subconsciously wired through evolutionary biology, in a high status or uh, high chance of survival partner. They either exemplify great father traits, great partner traits, um, great husband traits, or people who can survive in the tough times back in the day. So these things include a whole slew of things that are oftentimes subconsciously communicated through how you talk, how you react to certain situations, how you interact with others. Are you caring enough, but you have a backbone? All these things a girl will unconsciously look and test for, especially if they've been around you for a while. And these things will unconsciously trigger certain levels of attractiveness. Um, and the reason being, all these things were vitally important, if not more important, than just the superficial things in determining if this person is actually legit and can survive in these harsh environments of the past. These things are very valuable in, you know, talking to other tribes people, interacting with them, leading them, uh, dealing with very tough situations where there's beasts that are many times bigger, and you have to emotionally remain calm, deal with the situation, have a backbone, stand up when you need to, but also you're very calm, friendly, and nice when you're taking care of the partner as well. So again, it's a very brief overview, and this is not a paid plug. This is a great podcast that I'm plugging for free that goes into depth on all of this. It's called the Mating Grounds podcast, and I do think it will help you a lot if you want to go in depth on why all these traits matter. One thing there's so many things I disagree with on the podcast. Not many, a few. One of them being like, although all these traits are important, um, you don't want to go crazy and like think you need every single one of them to do well. If you are, you're probably aiming for like the top of the line 1% of women, which you don't have to do. In addition to that, not all these traits need to be exemplified fully. All these factors don't have to be exemplified fully in certain situations or venues, depending on what you're looking for. Again, like sometimes people can just exemplify enough very quickly, and other times, if again it's some place where you're at a club and you're meeting every week or so, it's a slow burn, and you can slowly start exemplifying these. But you don't have to go crazy or get overly anxious and think, oh my goodness, I need all this stuff. I need this level of masculinity and so forth. And again, um, you know, these are generally speaking things. So a girl may overlook or not care about certain things depending on the girl or the situation or how what caliber she is or how much she diverges from the general genetic wiring of most females. And again, here's a very important thing in evolutionary biology. Women didn't just all get together one day, form a congress, and decide, okay, this is what makes us attracted, generally speaking, to men. Now, this is through millions of years of evolutionary grooming, and that is why most, if not all, girls have this. It's due to the fact that, uh, you know, through survival, these were the things that worked that were passed down to offspring. So think that through. And I should do a whole nother video on this. But again, the more you find out about all these little things, the more you might get like overwhelmed. Realize that you are probably decent right now, and you could probably get laid with a girl. She may not be the highest quality girl. You don't have to pay her, but she is out there. So ideally, though, you're probably the reason you're probably struggling with this is maybe you're aiming for higher caliber girls, or perhaps it's just logistically you're not going to the right venues, you're not doing the right stuff. Um, so again, you can work on this stuff, and again, there's many factors involved. Sense of humor is a really good one. Um, again, it has a lot of evolutionary biology explanations for why it's important. Emotional resilience, not taking life too seriously, being able to provide good emotions to your family, um, and there's a whole slew of other ones. So let me know what you guys think. If you're very interested, perhaps I'll do another video on everything in detail. But this is a very quick overview on a whole variety of things that matter. And again, it is quite interesting because if you can do it properly, uh, you will be amazed because you can beat out people. Okay, ideally you want to have it all, but um, it can really just open up your world because you're like, okay, hey, I don't, it's not just money or status, and maybe I can do something about this and change myself and do better, and it's good to go. So there you go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.